Hello and welcome to today's video. This is a follow-along video. It's going to focus on joint mobility and posture. Well, first of all, welcome to Druid High Performance, self-development for mind, body and health. We look at performance, well-being, martial arts and fitness. And we're just going to get straight into it. So our first pattern is raising the sky. When we breathe in, our arms are going to come up above our head. And when we breathe out, our arms are going to fall down by our sides. And as I always say in my classes, the breath is in charge. As I say, each time our arms go to the sky, we breathe in. And each time the arms fall down to the side, we breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. That was pretty quick. This one we're a bit slower. Now I'm going to spread my fingers wide. I'm going to stretch from my heels to my palms when I breathe in. And when I breathe out, I'm going to hold an imaginary wall for 1 second level with my shoulders. And then I'm going to let my arms fall, pits of the elbows forward. So we're breathing in up to the sky. Breathing out, we're going to hold that wall. It's all about upper back. Something you'll hear me say a lot is broad chest, narrow back. Our back is very strong. Our arms are relatively weak. So when we're holding this wall, our back wants to do that. We want to finish with a very broad chest. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Now we're going to switch up to the tiptoes. We're going to come up onto our tiptoes as we breathe in. We might need to walk around a little bit. Then we come down to our heels and we breathe out. Everything is the same that we did previously. As we breathe in, our arms go up to the sky, we're onto our tiptoes, come down to our heels, we breathe out, we hold the wall, then we let the arms fall, fingers to the earth, pits of the elbows forward. And we're looking to refine each time. I've been doing this for almost a quarter of a century, this exercise. I'm still looking for the perfect one. And it's all about that ongoing refinement, breathing in deeper and smoother, more and more tension, more and more refinement, more and more movement in time with our breath as well. So we're going to switch our attention to our neck now. We've got our hands on our hips, our back engaged, and we're going to turn our head from side to side. Well within ourselves, we don't want to feel any pain, any undue twisting. We're just going to twist back and forth, just loosening the neck. Actually doing the class now, we go from a sort of 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock rotation. So we're well within ourselves. As we move back and forth, the neck will warm up, fill up with blood. And now we're going from up to down. We want to have a nice, good posture. In the class, we have our hands behind our back, but here I filmed this one a few years back. So we've got our arms in a nice, strong position, our back nice and straight. And we're just going up and down, chin up, chin down. So we've warmed up the neck rotationally, now we're going up and down, and that's just going to warm the neck up, get some fresh blood in there. Now we are doing rotation once again, but in time with our breath. So we have the palms on the back of the hips, thumbs creeping around the side. And we'll start with our head in 12 o'clock position. There we breathe in, we breathe out, we rotate to as far as we can comfortably rotate. We breathe into the center, we breathe out to the side. We just go back and forth with this one. Back and forth, nice and easy, taking our time. And again, the breath is in charge of the tempo here. We move in time with the breath, not the other way around. We want to keep our chest broad, our back narrow, just like we held the wall in raising the sky, that first exercise. Essentially, we want everything below the neck to be solid, rooted, and our head and neck rotates on top of that. And that's what we're aiming for. We go back and forth, we stretch that neck out nicely. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, Breathe out. Finish there. Now I'm holding my hands in front here. We make fists in class. I'm just engaging my back and I'm rotating back and forth. Similar to the first neck exercise, but we've warmed up a little bit now. So hopefully we've got a little bit extra range of motion. Now if you go to my class, we bring our fists together, create a circle of tension. By all means go for that. I recorded this video back in lockdown. And this is how I was doing that exercise at that point. As you can see, I'm rotating back and forth. So now we're going to go to the lower torso. We've looked at the neck, we've looked at the shoulder girdle, and now we're going to go to the lower torso. So as you can see here, I'm stood in a nice straight position, and I'm just going to lean from one side to the other. And I'm going to get a stretch just below the ribs and feeding down into the top of the thigh bone, top of my legs. Now you can see my feet are quite close together, and I've got quite a small motion. Just going back and forth, no twisting, just leaning one side to the other. And I'm going to maybe feel quite tight when I start this one. But over time, those muscles are going to stretch out a bit, loosen up a little bit, and I'm going to feel more comfortable, be able to lean a little bit further, one side, a little bit further, the other side. My hands run down the side of my legs towards my knees, but not that far. And as I say, I've got this stretch. There's muscle tissue which goes from the ribs to the top of the thigh bones, and this is what we're stretching. Here my legs are a little bit wider, you can see, and I've got a bit more of a stretch. So I'm leaning to one side, coming back to the other side. That's just loosening this lower torso position, this lower torso area. Muscles get very tight there. The more we sit, and a lot of us, we sit a lot, and that kind of switches off a lot of the muscle tissue in the legs and in the lower torso. So here we're just going to try and stretch that out, back and forth, stretch that out. It's very useful if we've been working. If we've been working, sat down for a while, this one's a good one to kind of get out of the chair, stretch out a bit, and then we can get back to it. Now we're going to do a stretch for that same part of the body in time with our breath. We're breathing into the center and we breathe out like a wave crashing over. No twisting. We're going to get a same stretch between the ribs and the top of the thigh bone. So again, we breathe into the center, nice deep breath, breathing out to the side. All my weight is in the foot I'm moving towards. I breathe back into the center, breathing out to the side. I bring all my weight into the foot that I'm leaning towards. Back and forth we go. Nice and relaxing. We're just going to deepen that stretch of the muscles that we've worked in the previous exercise. No rush with this one. We don't want to overdo it. We just want to kind of lengthen a little bit more, 1% more each time. Breathe out. Breathe in. Now we're drawing our attention to the same part of the body, but we're going to create some twisting. You can see I'm twisting back and forth. I want my legs to be rooted and everything on top rotates. My arms are loose, relaxed. I'm sort of turning again to that sort of 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, back and forth. Now again, muscle tissue around this area. It'll be working different muscles, but same sort of area, more throughout the whole of the lower torso. They can get very tight when we sit too much. So we've got those leans we previously did, and now we've got these twists just to kind of stretch out and loosen up that part of the body. Again, we can, after we've been sat for a while, we can move to this one. So this is the earlier stage one, and then we're going to switch now to a little bit more of advanced one where our back foot twists, if you see. My foot is rooted on the foot I'm turning towards, and my back foot just turns on the ball of the foot. So everything else is the same. If this one feels a bit complicated, go back to the original one we've just looked at, do that. But as time goes on, this one will become more natural the more we do it. Same with everything. The more we do something, the more comfortable it becomes. So I rotate back and forth on my feet. One foot is rooted and one is turning, is moving. And here I'm just explaining in the video, I'm looking for that 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock. My chest is rotating through. Back one way, back the other way. Back one way, back the other way. Nice and loose. And now we're going to do a stretch similar to the previous one. I'm going to reach around, grab my hips, and I'm going to pull myself round to get a bit of a stretch. I'm breathing into the center, and I breathe out, and I get that stretch. I've got my hand on my back hip, and my other hand on my front hip, just to give me a little purchase to twist around a little bit more. So I'm just explaining the part of the body we're getting that rotation. Breathing in, then I breathe out as I turn. So same with a lot of these exercises. I breathe into the center, breathe out, create my twist, and I use my hands to just give me that extra 1%. Again, we're not cranking ourselves round, we're just trying to loosen up that muscle tissue in the lower torso that gets ever so tight the more we sit. Again, everything below the waist, we want to be kind of rooted, and then we have a twisting on top. Want my shoulders level, don't want to be banking over too much. I want to go back and forth, creating that twist. Breathe in, breathe out. Now we've done that twisting, we're going to activate the upper back. So I'm going to stood with my feet shoulder width, breathe in, I'm going to have prayer palms. As I breathe out, I'm going to bring one arm out to the side, I'm going to draw the bow arm, the other arm back. This is going to be making my back very active and my chest very broad. You'll hear me say that a lot. Hands out to the side, draw the other arm back. My chest, my shoulders are back, my chest is broad. Like an archer, quite a lot of effort in the back. We breathe into the center. My arm comes out to the side and I pull the non-straight arm back. Again, it's always in time with the breath. I breathe into the center. Arm comes out, draw the bow arm back. Breathe in, breathe out. Here, you can see my thumb and my index finger are sort of making a right angle, makes it a bit more effort in the forearm. So my straight arm comes out to the side, and I've got my thumb and index finger at a right angle, single finger Zen. And that gives my forearm a bit more to do. So it's a bit of a refinement. As you do this one more and more, you can do that. Really aiming at broadening the chest and really activating the back. The back is very strong. The arms not so much. So we want to get very used to having our back active and our chest broad, because this is in a very strong position. Again, when we sit too much, or in our mobile phones, or we're all kind of hunched over, inwardly rotated, we're very weak. So this exercise is really good, again, if we've been sat down for a while, to get the back nice and active. Here we're going to switch into our movement pattern in time with our breath. We breathe in, we sit in our Novak position. Breathe out, we come up onto one leg. Each time we breathe in, we sit in this stance here. And as we breathe out, we come up onto one leg. And we want to switch on that active back. Our rooted leg wants to be nice and straight. And the bent leg, the knee wants to be up at the waist. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. I'm a little bit lower in my stance with this one. Breathing out. You see, if you check my hands when we go back to the other side, I'm breathing in here. I've got my palms together. Come up onto one leg. The leg that is straight, the palm is up, and the leg that is up, bent, palm is down. Breathing into the center, then we breathe out, we come up onto one leg. Back and forth. This is essentially good for balance and posture, but it's also moving the hips around. So we're using this one really for joint mobility, but we're getting a lot bang for our buck with this one. Now we're doing the same exercise, but we're a bit lower in our stance. Really drawing that leg back. So the hamstring of the raised leg brings the heel close to me. More engaged the hamstring of the bent leg and the quadricep, the thigh muscle of the straight leg, the stronger our stance will be. We want that narrow torso, belly button drawn to the spine. So we're trying to turn off, or turn on rather, all those postural muscles in the back, but also strong legs, muscles around the hips contracting or holding firmly, so able to stand strong. And as I say in the class a lot, it's a group effort. The whole body works together to stand. You don't want to use just a couple of muscles, you want to use a collection, all of them. So now we're moving to the shoulder socket problem area for a lot of people. So we're going to start with our hands pointing towards our chest, fingers slightly down, and we're going to rotate the hands through, fingers away, hands away. So we've got our elbows bent as the hands are close, and then we rotate away. So the shoulder sockets are going to get a bit of rotation. Now the idea of all this joint mobility is to bring some fresh blood into the joint to help with the flexibility and suppleness. But also the synovial fluid, the fluid that sits within all these joints, we want to make it nice and gloopy and liquid to protect the joints. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. From there, we're now working to the elbow. We have the arms in front of us, crossed. And then we're going to straighten the arms, keeping the elbows slightly bent, and then we're going to cut back. Now, if the right hand starts on top, it cuts back and it's underneath. So it's on top, underneath, and back and forth we go. So this is just, again, mobilizing the elbow. Again, the elbow for some people is a bit of a problem area. So we want to protect that joint. We want to do some maintenance, keeping it supple, keeping it loose and relaxed and full of fresh blood. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Working down the arm now, we're going to work the wrist. Now the wrist can move in quite a different few ways. So we're using this motion. Notice my elbows aren't moving too much. We're circling our hands up and over. I want my palms to be up and then down, up and then down. So we've got this kind of continual wave of the wrists. And as we go on with this one, our forearm will fill up with blood and lactic acid. We'll get used to that one. Circling through, circling through, circling through. And then we're going to go back the other way. So the near hand goes towards us and circles under, then repeat the other way, and then repeat the other way. When we first try this one, it can be a bit clunky, quite difficult it can be, but as we do it more and more, our hands are going to move more and more freely, We're going to keep that suppleness because as we get older, we lose suppleness in our hands and our wrists, and that causes problems. We want to keep ourselves supple and loose. We're going to switch over to our hands now. So we're going to have our hands in front and we're going to bend individual fingers, starting with the thumb, just the thumb. Now the index finger bends, and just the index finger. Middle finger. Some fingers don't want to bend by themselves. Ring finger likes to bring a friend, and now we're on to the little finger. And we start with the thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger. Back through the cycle again. We can go in random orders, but we want to isolate one individual finger. You can see there, my index finger wanted to come with the little finger. Now we're switching to the knee. I'm going to stand on one leg. I'm going to flex my leg and extend my leg. Extend it forward, flex it back. So my knee is getting a nice bit of mobility now. I'm not straightening my leg. I'm going kind of 45, 45, 45 out, 45 back. Here I switch over to the other leg. So the knee is just going to loosen up, going to get that same idea with the blood flowing to the knee. And that synovial fluid is going to become more liquidy, like the old Castrol GTX advert. So it coats the joints in this lubrication. So it protects our knee or whatever joint we're looking at. Forward and back, forward and back. Very simple one with the knee, nice and relaxed. Now we move our attention to the ankle. For this one, we're going to go up and down, toes up, toes down, toes up, toes down. Very simple. We're going to do 4 exercises. We're going to go 15 or 20 reps each. That's about 15. Now we're going to switch to circles, counterclockwise. We're going to try and make that circle as round as possible. If your ankle's a bit gritty, it might be tricky to do a circle and it might end up a bit more like a triangle. We're trying to get 15 to 20 reps of counterclockwise circle with the ankle, imagining you're drawing a circle with the big toe. And then we're going to switch back the other way. We're going to go clockwise now. Trying to get as nice a circle as possible. Our ankle's going to fill up with blood. We'll probably feel this by now. Again, we're just getting that blood flowing through the ankle. Back and forth we go. This one's a bit of a funnier one. So toes up, toes down, toes up, point the toe, toes up, point the toe. Straighten the leg and point the toe. Toes up, toes away. Toes up, toes away. Again, we're looking, the knee's getting a bit of work here, but we're really focusing on the ankle. Toes up, toes down. So it's like a spearing motion with the toes. Back to the original second foot now. Sorry, we're going to the second foot. We're going up and down, 15 reps. Now we're doing our counterclockwise circles. Now my right ankle, you can see, is a bit more free to move than the left. This one's a bit more circular, I would say, than the other one. My left ankle's a bit clicky. I can make it click pretty much by moving it. So that's my 15. Now I go clockwise with my ankles. At this point, my ankle starts to fill up with blood. My calf, muscles below the knee on the front and the back starts to really kind of feel that. Now we're going to this sort of spearing motion. Toes up, toes down, toes up, shoot the foot through. Toes up, toes down. So it's like a spearing motion, like a kingfisher ducking for a fish. Toes up and shoot the foot forward and point the toe down. So again, this is the 4th ankle one. Now we're switching to our feet. We're going to bunch our toes up and then spread them out wide and try and get some gaps between the toes. Bunch them up, spread them wide. Very simple, just to get those toes moving, because we're walking around, the big toe can take a lot of pressure. The foot arch can get very tight. So it's a very basic one, We're just going to scrunch them up and separate them. Probably sat down for this one is best, so we're not kind of losing our balance. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So we've come now to the posture bit. So we're going to do a minute one side. So we are up on one leg. The raised leg, the hamstring is working, brings our heel close to us. And on the standing leg, our quadricep is working. And between those powerful muscles, we've got a good foundation to work from. The muscles around the hips are working. And we also work up the back. So we've got that slight crunching action. So we're narrowing the waist. We're bringing the belly button to the spine. And we've got our arms out by our sides. But we're remembering how we were recruiting the muscles in the upper back when we were holding the wall all the way back at the beginning with raising the sky. So between the shoulder blades, outer corners of the shoulder blades working strongly. And also we're thinking about our head position as well. And now we're into the other side. So we've got the video kind of jumping around a little bit. As I say, I've taken this from an old video, but I just wanted something for people to follow along with. So again, the standing leg, the quadricep, the thigh muscles working strongly. On the raised leg, the hamstring is working strongly. We want that whole posterior train working together. We want to share the load. And another teaching point I've been using a lot recently is below the knee of the standing leg is relatively passive. We don't want the calf, the muscles below the knee to be working too strongly because they will fatigue very quickly. And then once they're gone, we're going to have a right job standing tall and standing strong there. We want to share the load, and we want the big powerful muscles, which can also endure quite a lot. We want to lean on those. Breathing is important as well. We want to stay nice and relaxed. Now we switch now into holding the sky on our shoulders, which we routinely end our Qigong classes with. And here we can see we're in our Novak position in our legs, and we're holding the sky on the shoulders with the arms. Again, we want to recruit the back. We want the back to be active, and the back to be working strongly, because our arms are very weak, as I keep saying, but the back is very strong. So we need those muscles between the shoulder blades and the outer corners to be active here. The more the arms are forward, the more, or the less rather, the back's going to be involved. So we want the arms out to the sides. We want the crooks of the elbows, slightly bent. Imagine we've got little bowls of water on the hands, on the crooks of the elbow, and maybe even the shoulders. So we're going to hold this for a while with the stance, and then we're going to come and bring our feet together for the last few minutes here. So there's less work for the legs. We keep going with the arms. Now typically we finish the class with 3 minutes of this holding the sky on the shoulders. Once we're comfortable with 3 minutes, we can go to 3:30. Using progressive overload, we will just keep creeping up, making it longer and longer and longer. And then someone might say, wow, you can do this for 5 minutes, but it would take a bit of work to get there, but you did it incrementally. And that's the same for all these types of muscular endurance exercises, these postural ones. It's very difficult in the early going, and then we improve a little bit, we improve a bit more. I remember we first started doing this in the class, and some of the students found this very difficult, but now it's become normal. It's become standard. Once that becomes standard, we add 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and off we go. Now, one thing we haven't really talked about in this video so much is breath regulation, but we'll touch on it now just a little bit. Sometimes when we're holding something like this, we're having to endure something like this, holding our arms up or some stance. One technique we can use is dropping water. And that means a nice deep breath in and a slow, deep exhalation. And we do that over time, and that can slow everything down for us. It can act almost as a painkiller, and it can give us a deep sense of focus. And so we can kind of ignore the buildup of pain, the buildup of lactic acid in the working muscles there, and the body will stay relaxed. Remember, deep, smooth breath in and a long, deep, slow breath out. If we can make that out breath at least 6 seconds, once we've done 6 breaths or so, we're going to start to deregulate the body. And that's what happens when we do this slow exhalation. We slow things down, it's nice and relaxed, and we can kind of endure the pain. So we're coming to the end now of this follow along and relax. Well done. So we've looked at a few things today. We've looked at the joint mobility of all the major joints, the neck, the shoulder girdle, the hips, gone through the shoulder sockets, the elbows, the wrists and hands. We've also looked at the knees, ankles and the feet. And then we finished here with some posture work. And again, posture is very important as we get older, that we maintain our suppleness in our joints, but also the ability to recruit the muscles together to keep us in a nice, strong posture. So thank you very much. This video is there whenever you need it. If you're away from class or midweek, you fancy doing some Qigong as well, we've got a nice routine to follow along with there. Thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe and comment if you got any value from this video. Any comments, any shares, most appreciated. Thank you very much. All the best.